Chapter 9. Where and when to file your lawsuit. Outside sources are underlined in blue text. Forms available in our Forms package are underlined in red text. Links to each are below this video. Lawsuit Analyzer evaluates your dispute and identifies the forum and the state it will be heard in. If you decide to proceed with your case, take the following steps to determine which county and civil court to file suit in and whether your case meets its filing deadline. Jurisdiction and venue laws determine where you file your lawsuit. Statute of limitations laws determine when you must file your lawsuit. These laws are nearly beyond the comprehension of lawyers, nevertheless laypersons. They are also one of the primary reasons self-representation is so challenging. This resource simplifies this overly complex process and puts these important determinations directly in your hands. Open your mind and go through these steps and you will know these important answers. Note, if your forum is mediation or arbitration, steps 1 to 5 are unnecessary. Step 1. How much are your recoverable damages? These answers will in part be based on the value of your recoverable damages. Enter your recoverable damages here. Identify your recoverable damages in Phase 5 of Lawsuit Analyzer or by following the steps in the Calculating Damages chapter. Step 2. Does your lawsuit belong in state or federal court? The odds are overwhelming that you'll be in state court since federal courts have jurisdiction in only 2 kinds of cases. Cases based on a federal law, called federal question cases, for instance, civil rights laws, patent laws, antitrust laws, etc. Diversity of citizenship cases. If you are suing a citizen of a different state or country, and you are asking for at least $75,000 in money damages. If your case belongs in federal court, go no further. This e-course does not apply. We therefore assume jurisdiction of your case belongs in a state court. Step 3. Which state and which county in that state has jurisdiction over your case? The state and county choice will normally be. There are exceptions, so do your own research. Where the defendant resides or does business. Where a contract with the defendant designates the state to hear any dispute. Where a contract with the defendant was to be performed or was signed. Where an injury that is the subject of the claim occurred. Where the real property that is the subject of the claim is located. Where the events leading up to the claim occurred. Apply these general standards for defining where your dispute should be filed. If more than one applies, choose the location best for you. Smart cookie tip. You want to do everything you can to get your case into small claims court where you can easily manage it on your own. If your case value is above the small claims court limit in a state where the dispute should be bought, and if there is also a choice of another state, consider filing in the state with the higher limit. You may be able to appear remotely at the hearing. See the Small Claims Court chapter for more. Enter your findings here. State. County. Step 4. Which civil court has jurisdiction over your case? Now that you have identified the state and county that will hear your case, you need to determine which civil court in that state your claim should be filed in. If your case belongs in small claims court, you can skip this step since small claims court is your forum. Small claims court limits increase over time, so double-check always by working Lawsuit Analyzer or by performing an internet search for small claims court limit in the state for your dispute. If your case is above the small claims limit, you have a little more research to determine which civil court to file your case in. Some states lump all civil cases above the small claims limit into one branch, sometimes called the Superior Court, whereas other states further separate these cases by value. Currently, California has 2 courts that hear civil cases, small claims for claims up to $12,500 and Superior Court for claims beyond that. The Superior Court, however, further categorizes its civil cases as limited civil cases if valued at $35,000 or less and as unlimited civil cases if valued is above $35,000. Florida small claims hears claims up to $8,000, claims greater than $8,000 and less than $50,000 in county court, and claims for $50,000 or more in circuit court. Each state does it differently, but each county within each state follows the state format. The best way to get this information is to conduct an internet search for civil court structure in the state your case belongs in. You can locate a huge amount of information on these pages, some of which will give you answers, much of which will confuse the heck out of you. So, keep it simple, just get the information you need, which is this. With damages of: which civil court do I file in? If you can't find this information anywhere else, go to the website for the state and county you will file in, call the number at the civil court location, and ask them the question above. They can't give you legal advice, but they can answer this question. Self-help in the court system is becoming increasingly popular and courts are trying to do their part. Enter your findings here. State. County. Court name. Step 5. Which location in your county will you file your case in? Most large counties have several court locations. Now that you know the state, county, and civil court name you will file in, you need to identify the location of that court within the county. The best way is to search the internet for Find My Court, the state you will file in. For instance, see California's court webpage. When you click on the link, you have the choice of entering the city, county, and zip code for where your case should be filed, or you can click on View All Courts. By choosing the latter, the state is divided into counties and easy links are provided to self-help pages, court locations, and the like, lots of useful information. For instance, clicking on the San Francisco County page lists 4 court locations, each identified by the claims they handle. Civil cases are filed at their Civic Center courthouse. You now know which location to file your case in and have completed all steps to identify exactly where to file your lawsuit. Enter your findings here. State. County. Court name. Location. Step 6. Search the internet for your state statute of limitations, for example, CA statute of limitations. Now you are ready to locate the statute of limitations for your case. That is the time frame within which you must file your case. You will find a list of case types, i.e., personal injury, property damage, contracts, etc., and timeframes associated with each. Each state enacts its own statutes of limitations. For example, rules in one state might require a plaintiff with a personal injury claim to file suit within 1 year from the date of injury and a person with a breach of contract claim within 4 years from the date of breach. In another state, plaintiffs could have 2 years for personal injury cases and 5 years for breach of contract claims. Search the internet for your state statute of limitations, for example, CA statute of limitations. Statutes of limitations rules apply to all legal actions, those heard in the courts, as well as those in alternative dispute resolution. Mediation and arbitration. The time within which you must file varies according to your case type. Step 7. Identify the case type that relates to your dispute. When you locate your case type, obtain a solid definition that pertains to that case type. Another internet search for your state and case type will provide more details. For example, California definition of oral contract. Debt collection timeframes are particularly challenging. For instance, some states separate contract types by whether the contract was oral or written, often with a shorter timeframe for oral contracts. It is imperative that you choose the correct case type that uniquely fits your fact pattern within the state where you will bring your action. Enter case type here. Enter statute of limitations for your case type here, in years. Step 8. Measure the time frame that fits your case type. When you identify the correct case type and the limitations period that pertains to that case type, measure whether your dispute meets the described time frame. Usually, but not always, it is measured from when the act being complained of happened, but sometimes it is measured from when the complaining party became aware of the act being complained of, called the date of discovery. For debt collection cases, in some states, the statute of limitations period begins when the obligated party failed to make a required payment. In other states, it is counted from when the most recent payment was made. In some states, even a partial payment on the debt will restart the time frame. Even if the statute of limitations has expired, a court may still award a judgment against a defendant if the defendant doesn't show up and raise the statute of limitations as a defense. It is the responsibility of the person being sued to point out that the statute of limitations has expired, but the wise plaintiff also makes sure the limitations period has not expired before filing an action. Sometimes, also, the date by which the action must be filed is extended. For instance, in some states, the filing deadline for cases that should have been filed during extreme times of COVID is automatically extended. Check online with your state to see if this applies. Enter when the time frame begins to run. Enter the calculation for your case. When did the limitations period for your case end? Step 9. Consult with the Self-Help Center for your court or with an attorney. Re-enter the county and court in that county where you will file your lawsuit. Enter here. County. Court. Perform an internet search of that county and court to determine if they have a self-help center either online or in person. If they do, consult with them. Or ask a lawyer if your analysis is correct on a paid legal advice website. Smart cookie tip. Double-check your findings by opening this website, prepare your court documents, and if your state is available, work your dispute through as a small claims matter. The intent is not to complete and file the forms at this point. You just want to perform a double check of your findings above. If your case is bound for small claims, you will return to this platform later when you are ready to file. Step 10. If your case is ripe, meaning the statute of limitations timeframe has not expired, work your case through Lawsuit Analyzer if you have not already.